On my back, there was a Star of David pictured by somebody, and on my table, there was a piece of paper and it was written, "Go away from us to your Israel." And listen, I didn't want to go to Israel at that time. I was like a patriot of the Soviet Union. The kids in my class, they tried to beat me. So I was seriously fighting with them. And they were telling me that you are a dirty Jew or something like that. They were making fun of my last name because it didn't sound Russian or Ukrainian. And it was, in many cases, related to the fact that I'm Jewish. It was painful. There is no God, but there are Jewish people. As actually the third generation of Jewish atheists in the former Soviet Union. We kept our very strong Jewish identity. I don't remember anybody in my family who was not Jewish. And we didn't want to create any more troubles by believing in God. So, no God, but Jewish people. And as the former Soviet Union began to collapse, we experienced such a wonderful freedom suddenly to be proud of being Jewish. I learned about the Holocaust for the first time. Some of my relatives died in Babi Yar during the Holocaust in Kiev. I started learning Hebrew. I became very strong Zionist. I went to a synagogue, not to worship God though, but to have fellowship with other Jewish people. My Zionistic dream became true. I moved from Ukraine to Israel. As I arrived there, I was literally ready to kiss the land. But one day, I came to the Wailing Wall in the old city, Jerusalem. And I was standing there and it was a feeling, oh, I reached the destination. That's the highest moment of my life. I came to the wall and I touched it. And I instantly believed in God. It was like electricity struck me. A couple months later, I had to make a decision. I decided to ask God, and the only way I knew was to write a note with my question to put in the Wailing Wall for God to read it. In my note, I asked him about the direction and guidance for my life. I promised that I will never complain about it. The very next day, he sent me back to Ukraine, and I was complaining like crazy. It was a foolish promise. I'm on my way back to Ukraine. And somebody gives me the New Testament in Russian, and it was my main language at that time. It's not for me. I'm Jewish. It's not a Jewish book, not at all. But at the same time, it's the book, and I love the books. I cannot say no to a book, so I took it. I had a Jewish friend. He was one of the most Jewish person I have ever met at that time. I appreciated my friend very much, and I respected him a lot. He was a really good friend for me at that time. He told me, "You're a sinner. You go to hell. The only way to be saved is to believe in Jesus." It's crazy. I'm Jewish. I don't believe in Jesus, and I'm not going to believe in Jesus. I consider the New Testament an anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish book. I was surprised as I opened and started reading this. It was full of Jewish history, Jewish humor, Jewish worldview. It appeared to me even more Jewish than the Talmud. I didn't consider myself as a sinner before. Good education, good career, good decent life, Jewish angel. But on that very day, I knew that I'm a sinner. Something was wrong with me. I'm not as good as I thought I was. I never committed serious crime, not because I was so good, but because I was afraid of the consequences. I felt so dirty. The very next day, I told my parents that I believe in Jesus and I follow Jesus as the Messiah. They thought that it's just for a season, a new crazy idea that I have. With the time, they learned to live with this. I realized Jesus is Jewish. He is the King of the Jews. He is one of my own people. He is the ideal Jew. He is ideal Israel in a certain way. I became so proud and so happy to be Jewish because we have such a Messiah, such a king, such an example to follow. Now I know that I have personal relationship with the God of Israel. I talk to him. I know that I'm in his presence. He speaks back to me. I see his hand, and he's working in my life on a daily basis. And it's something like a very deep peace inside of me. And in my soul, I can sense, I can feel this connection to him. The connection that I never used to experience before that night of prayer.